We're going to continue our series in the blue collar videos for Blaze King products. This is the Princess Insert 29. Inside, when you receive the unit, this string is removed. It has a couple of reminders on it. We're going to talk about those as we go. In here are two metal strips. These are for the installation. So once you put the leveling bolts into the insert itself, and you want to slide this into the fireplace, if you put these under the leveling bolts, it makes it much easier rather than having it dig into the surface. Like all Blaze King stoves, it's catalytic. There's our flame shield you can see right there, and sitting behind that flame shield is the catalytic combustor. The purpose for this string is just to keep the shield from bouncing loose and shipping. So it holds it down with tension. This here is the dome guard. This dome guard just simply is all stainless, and it's designed to protect any steel right above from any excess heat. The door hangs on these hinge pins right here, and then the door adjustment is right here. This is a critical issue. We want to make sure that we always keep the door nice and snug. Not too tight to where it damages the latch mechanism or scores it, but rather just snug enough that you can't pull a dollar bill out of the unit when you do the dollar bill test. That is in the owner's manual of every Blaze King stove. Make sure you tell the customer that they will periodically need to adjust this tension, periodically about once a year. But there's a nut on the inside right where I'm pointing. There's this one, they're both 9/16. You loosen this one up, you loosen that one up, and you can either move the latch in or out depending upon what amount of tension is needed. Be very clear about this. When you install the door for the very first time, adjust this. Because if you crush that gasket and damage the latch, you shorten the life of the gasket and the latch. So you don't want to do that. You want it just snug enough that you can't pull a dollar bill up. Don't take the door and put it on the stove, force this closed and call it good. That's not a good situation. This knife edge seal that goes around all Blaze King stove door openings serves the purpose of intersecting very positively with the door rope gasket. Next, it also reinforces the face of the plate steel of the stove by having this 90-degree angle here. Failure to adjust this can damage the stove. In the event of an air leak seeping through here, it can also damage the catalyst. This is the way that you get your longest burn times and make sure that your Princess insert lasts a lifetime. Over here we have the bypass handle. This is open, this is closed, this is locked. You want to make sure it's locked down each and every time. It gives a tight seal to a 5/8 inch dense rope gasket, which we'll go over here and you can see inside there. There's the rope gasket. You can barely see it with the light in here. There you have it. And then when that bypass plate is closed, it comes down, sits on that gasket, and again, you can click it over and cam it over. It's hard to see in there, but directly where this rod is, in front of that rod, is an adjustment bolt, so you can adjust the tension of that bypass. It's not necessary to do that. It'll only become necessary after several years. Our experience is they can last close to 8 or 10 years before they need adjustment. At that point, it's more likely that you would just raise the bypass plate, or this, take a flat blade screwdriver and dig this gasket out all the way around and just put a new gasket in. This is worth noting. This is a 5/8 inch dense rope gasket. If you obtain this from anybody other than Blaze King, I can assure you that it's not the same gasket. This is made for us. It's super dense, and when we close the bypass plate, it really has some resistance. There are consumers who have used stuff off the shelf from fireplace shops, and then they think there's something wrong with their bypass because it no longer cams over when they have that positive detent and closing it like that. This here is an adapter. This adapter, we put it on here, and once you connect the liner to the appliance, you want to make sure this is on here, because if you remove this, in between this trim ring and the firebox itself is a gap. And if you don't put this on, fan air is going to blow up the chimney. You're going to lose that ability to push that air out the front. So put this on here. Some dealers and installers will like to put a little high temperature RTV on it. I think that's fine as long as it's a very small bead. and doesn't prevent you from getting it off if you ever have to service the unit. Going around this way, here's a cable. This cable is stapled to the pallet currently. It goes underneath the unit and up front. And when it comes up front, there's a slide out tray right here. And that slide out tray carries the permanent label for the unit, and it has the serial number and all that stuff. This is a rheostat knob for the fan. The fan in this unit is a single axial fan, single little propeller style fan. It does not move a tremendous amount of air. It moves enough air, but it's not super robust, to be fair. It's a good fan. They're inexpensive to replace. They generally last several years. We don't sell very many because, quite candidly, they last a long time. We've been using them for many years. The shroud, when it's applied, is attached up here, and it goes back through here along the sides. The cat thermometer probe, which is in the owner's packet, goes in this hole. And now I want to talk a little bit about the thermostat. So the thermostat assembly on the Princess PI29, Princess Insert 29, is housed in this area. All of our other units, the thermostat is either in the back of the appliance or down in front in the case of the Ashfords and Sirocco 25 inserts. So the way you gain access to this is that you need a 7/64 Allen wrench, and you have to loosen up a little tiny set screw. Now, make sure that you have the unit set on high, and then what you do is you go up through the bottom, and there's the set screw in here. Now, sometimes those set screws will come loose, and if they do, they're a pain in the butt to get this off, because basically that set screw gouges a rim in here, and oftentimes you'll have to break the knob to get it off if it's been slipping. But in that case, you can just file it smooth and maybe even file a flat spot for the set screw, which is, again, a 7/64 Allen wrench. It's set right down in that little hole. So we take the thermostat knob off. The bypass handle has to come off. Those are typically very tight. It unscrews from the handle here. Off it comes. And then open the bypass slightly, like this. And then there are 3 number 2 Robertson square drive screws. We're going to take those out. With my luck, I'll drop one. That's not uncommon. They're pretty small. I'm doing all these videos by myself in the mornings here in the shop, and that way generally I'm not bothered too much, but doing them by yourself makes it difficult to control the camera and the phone and everything with one hand. So this cover now is going to come off. You might have to lower this partially, the bypass handle at a different angle, and then this comes off this way, and you gain access to the thermostat control. Let me finish taking that off the rest of the way if I can. Being on a pallet, it's a little bit difficult. There we go, it's off. That came off better than I thought it would. So let's watch the bypass operation real quickly. See how it works there. We've been doing this a long time. We don't sell very many of these cable repair kits because they've actually done a much better job in the engineering of this over time. So this thermostat assembly is right here. And when you turn the thermostat, it raises and lowers this bimetallic blade. And like all of our units, it's spring loaded. The bimetallic spring is housed behind this unit. If you ever need to service this unit, you always want to make sure this piece right here that I'm rubbing my finger on, right here, this is an oval cutout and this is an oval cutout. So this can actually be slotted and moved up and down to adjust for the final position of this blade. It doesn't seem like a lot, but it can make a significant difference. So you always want to put a pencil mark right across here and right across here, showing where the screw sat. In this particular case, you can see it's nearly at the top of the slot. Okay, and then you just would reassemble this and put this back together. This is one of the leveling bolts here. So We were talking earlier about those 2 metal strips. So if you use round carriage head bolts and thread them this way, so that the round head is facing towards the hearth of the fireplace, then what happens is it slides on those 2 metal strips that we showed you earlier. It slides on those very, very easily. There's another leveling bolt here, and it looks like they've used a screw through here temporarily to hold it to the crate packaging. And again over here, and then one behind this cover. This cover is actually easier to get off than the thermostat side. You simply pull the rheostat knob off like that, remove 3 screws, this comes off. You don't have the bypass handle to deal with when you're pulling off this side. Let's see, there we go. And I think that's about it on the Princess Insert 29. If you have any questions, you can always ask your rep, or you can call us here at Blaze King. We'll try and help you. Thank you very much.